I'd like to call the Select Board meeting for Monday, July 10th, 2023 to order. We'll be going into executive session and returning no earlier than 6 o'clock. Jeff, can I have a motion, please?
You may, Madam Chair. I move that we move into executive session for A, pursuant to General Law 30A, Section 21, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel and to conduct contract negotiations with non-union personnel, town administrator. And B, pursuant to Mass General Law, Section 2130A, to discuss with respect to collective bargaining for all town unions, and the chair has determined that open session would have a detrimental effect on the town's bargaining position. Harwich Employees Association.
Second.
All in favor?
Poll.
Roll call. Michael?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Julie? Aye. Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye, 5-0, Joe.
We'll be returning. Aye, Julie.
Turning no earlier than 6 p.m. Reopen, we're just in executive session, and we have taken a recess. We're going to go back into executive session after the open part of the meeting is concluded, but we will not reopen. We will close everything in executive. And now, if everyone would join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Public comments?
Good evening, everyone. Norm Clark, I'm here as a member of the Harwich Fire Association, your retired fire chief, and I'm happy to report tonight that the project that we've worked very hard to is well underway at 203 Bank Street, really the original true firehouse in Harwich. My message tonight is that we've partnered with Channel 18. Jamie Goodwin has reached out, and we're going to be doing a series about every 2 weeks on the progress of that, of the fire station. And it will work also to inform what's going on with Mike Locke and the Conservation Trust property, because we are there together. So we're well underway, and I just wanted to let everybody know that if you tune into the YouTube channel for Channel 18 in Harwich, episode 1 is up and running, and we hope to have episode 2 in another week or so. To keep everybody informed.
Great, thank you so much, Norma. We all look forward to watching the progress.
Yeah, we're well underway if you've driven by.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Looks amazing.
Yeah,
Good start.
yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
One reminder, I did get told after the last meeting that some people can't hear from the mic, so if everyone that wants to speak, just make sure you're real close to it. People on TV couldn't hear us.
I don't think anyone ever has a problem hearing me.
We'll see, we'll see.
Hello, Elizabeth Harder. I am your delegate to the Barnstable County Assembly of Delegates, and I just wanted to give everyone an update because we're about to do some interesting things that I think you might want to keep an eye on. We are going to do a charter change, which will hopefully appear before you all on the ballot next year, when they, as with any document, you set it up a certain way and then things change, and there was some discrepancy on what people thought this meant and that meant as things had changed over the years. So it's just cleaning up language, but as it gets clearer, I'm going to let everyone, know exactly, and I'll send it to be read to everybody. But I just wanted to give you a heads up because I'm a policy wonk, so this is the kind of stuff I love. So if anybody's interested in that sort of thing, our meetings are going to be fun to watch. And then the other thing is that I just want to remind people, because unfortunately, I'm all in favor of clean water desperately, but the new Mass DEP regulations went into effect, and people are going to have some costs associated with that. They're going to have to either get new septic or hook onto the sewer when they didn't think they were going to. So I just want to remind people, hopefully Harwich is on top of watershed, so hopefully it won't affect anyone. But I just want to reiterate that we have at the county something called the Aqua Fund. And if you go to the Barnstable County website and look at Aqua Fund, it is a way to get a loan for any water-related projects like that, sewer or septic. And depending on your income, and it's very generous, the loan will either be at 0, 2, or 4%. So if anyone needs help with that, go to the county or call me. So just wanted to give you a heads up.
Great, thanks a lot, Elizabeth, that's great information.
Hi, Carolyn Carey, Community Center Director. I'm just reminding everyone that tomorrow, July 11th at 5:30, we have our talk on the domestic dog beating and how they coordinate with the wolf. Didn't I make that sound like you would just want to come? I did it no justice at all. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. And we have 25 of the 35 yard sale spaces already signed up for. And those of you who have not come to see Pebbles, she's very sad, but she is growing. And she is there all month, so you can come paint a rock. I could have brought them for you this evening. I can do that next time. August 3rd, we have Jungle Jim joining us, and he does balloon magic, and he even gets inside of a balloon. So I know you don't want to miss that. And then on a serious note, we do some fun things, but we will be talking on August 12th about the cause of breast cancer on the Cape. So I think that's all. Thanks. And really, the wolf is really an excellent presentation. I apologize for making it sound so. What was the date on that? That's tomorrow, the August 11th at 5:30. I mean, July 11th. Let's start again. Hi, my name's Emily Mitchell.
I can vouch for the rock painting. My 21-month-old granddaughter and I went over and painted a couple of rocks. She had a ball, we painted some rocks. All is good. Thank you, Carolyn. Anyone else? Okay, we're on to,
Madam,
well,
your own select board announcement.
we have our own announcement. Jeff and I have started doing open hours, and our next one is July 20th, 5:30 to 7:30 at Brooks Free Library. We're there to listen to anyone's thoughts, concerns, whatever anyone wants to talk about. No appointments needed. You can talk to one of us, talk to both of us. We welcome all. Could I have a motion for the consent agenda, Jeff?
Yes, you may, Madam Chair. I move to approve the Select Board meeting minutes for June 26th, 2023.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-0, Joe. I couldn't hear you, Don.
I second it.
Okay. New business A, I'm guessing that's you, Joe?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, everybody. I am thrilled to be able to present the appointment of Carrie Schoner as our next Health Director for the town of Harwich. Carrie, as you know, has been with the town of Harwich for several years now. She came over to us from the town of Dennis. And of course, we're looking to fill the vacancy caused by the recent departure of our former Health Director, Katie O'Neill. Katie has gone on to a phenomenal job for Barnstable County Health Department. So as much as we miss her, we still gain the benefit of her extraordinary skills as it relates to epidemiology. The topic, however, tonight is to seek your affirmation of my appointment of Carrie as our next health director. In addition to working for the town of Harwich, she comes to us with more than a decade of experience in public health. She holds several relevant certificates to that venue of expertise. She has recently received registered sanitarian certification, and certified health officer certification pending notice from the state, but she passed the exams, so the last part is just getting the notification of that. So she certainly comes to us with, I think, great experience and a strong background. She also has a Bachelor of Science in Environmental Sciences. So with that, I respectfully request that the board affirm the appointment. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Can I have a motion?
Sure. I move that we affirm the appointment of Carrie Schoner as the Health Director.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Don?
Yes, Madam Chair. I don't know how to say this in a nice way, but me personally, until I can get my head wrapped around the turnover that's happening in this town, I don't plan on voting for this or any other department confirmation in the future. I will say that I've heard a lot of really nice things about her from both of her colleagues and out of town, and that she'd be an excellent health director.
Okay. I have some thoughts, but I think I'll keep them to myself. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? 401. Joe?
Thank you.
Discussion on select board priorities. You all got my one-pager that I tried to take everything we discussed for this year's priorities, and I tried to then lump them into categories to sort out where we go from here. So two things. One is I'd like to have everybody look at that, make sure I didn't miss anything or stated incorrectly. The ones with the asterisk are ones that people suggested would make a good working session topic. So two tasks, really. Anything to add to the list, and what would you like to do at our next working session, which is a week from today? Julie?
I think it would be good to get moving in the discussion on the zoning stuff, because that's gonna take time for us to focus on what exactly we're trying to drive, you know, and then get the discussion to the planning board and public hearings and set them on their way to do their job, you know, so I'm just thinking maybe the timing on that is pretty important.
Probably a longer lead time than some other things. Don?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I totally agree with Julie. I did want to take the opportunity, because of this showing up on the priority list, and thank you. The first one is exactly what I was looking towards. There's been a misunderstanding because of just us saying it without getting into any kind of depth into a discussion. When we were talking about having the ability for larger existing houses that don't create more bedrooms so they don't create any different stress on your septic systems. We weren't talking about either the ability to do more lot coverage or anything nefarious. It was mostly about some of those old captain's houses where one person could not find it financially viable to refurbish the house, but if two or three of them throw in together and create a multifamily house with the same footprint, the same lot size, and the same number of bedrooms, that it would benefit everybody. It's not necessarily for affordable housing, it's for, you know, just middle-class housing to be able to access something that's under $600,000. And I feel like it's necessary to say that to the public, because there's been some misunderstanding that we're trying to cram all sorts of boarding houses into Harwich. That is not what we're trying to do.
Thank you, Don. Anyone else?
I think you did a great job capturing all of what we discussed.
Thanks. Thank you.
So I'll send you my thoughts on some for some depth,
Okay.
but great job.
Shall we take zoning on for next week? Should we have anybody else at the, one of the things we can do with a working session is bring in some expertise.
Well, Duncan is a pretty good,
What's that?
Duncan Berry is the chair of the planning board. He's a pretty good resource. He goes around the country lecturing on this kind of thing.
Shall we include him?
We should probably include him and Brian from the Board of Appeals.
Yeah,
Who?
ZBA.
Oh, okay,
So if I may, the chairs of the two regulatory bodies on that.
okay. So the zoning chair and the Board of Appeals chair. Okay,
Planning board chair.
and,
Planning
Board of
board.
Appeals.
okay. I'll reach out to both of them and see if they can come. Mr. McManus?
It'd also be nice to notify the local comprehensive plan committee to just attend, to be up to date on your discussion, because that's sort of what we're all about.
Thank you. Do you want to let Margot know?
Absolutely.
With that said, if they are planning on attending and they're gonna have a quorum, they need to post a meeting, public meeting.
If they're all coming.
Or if
Even
they
if
have
three
any
or more.
quorum.
Okay,
So maybe if I would ask for a representative? or
Yeah.
two Instead of,
Right.
just to keep it simple.
yep.
Just two of them, Ed.
And we don't want them now.
Yeah, I think a representation would be
Yeah.
great, but to think that we're gonna have a joint meeting at this point, at this
Right.
level, seems to me that's gonna extend and take away from what we're really trying to do.
It's really to brainstorm
Yeah.
some ideas.
Directive.
Yep. Elizabeth?
My suggestion for this would be, he's a lovely young man, and I have a mental block on his head. John, I think his name's John, he's the one developing the old. in
John
West-
Carey?
John Carey in West Harwich, and I've learned a lot from talking to him, I've learned a lot about the problems he's facing with zoning, so I think it might be good to hear his perspective on it.
Thank you.
Madam
Okay.
Chair?
Yes.
But just to reiterate, because I know where Michael's going with all this, they can sit, they can listen to the discussion, but this is not constructed to take votes. So
No
as
votes.
such,
No votes.
there's a beginning and there's a middle, but there's no end. It has to come back to a public meeting, so there isn't going to be a resolution of any sort.
Information gathering.
Right. Okay. Anything else? Then I'll just await anybody that wants to give me additions, subtractions, edits, whatever. Okay? So just to confirm, the next session is the 17th, 6 PM, and we're going to talk about zoning issues with those people we just invited. And I'll explain to them what this is. It's brainstorming, and we're looking for them to help us clarify. Okay, next, D, can I take a motion on that, Jeff?
Yes, Madam Chair, I move to approve a new 2023 annual common viculars license for Cape Side Kitchen Family, DBA Cape Side Kitchen, at 537 Route 28.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Joe, 5-0.
Thank you.
I move to approve a new 2023 junk dealer license for Arum LLC DBA Harwich Antique Center at 10 Route 28.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-0, Joe?
Thank you.
I move that we approve a special permit application for a one-day entertainment and one-day wines and malt license for Reciprocity Artisans Market at 4 Cross Street, Monday, September 4th, 2023, from 4 PM to 7:30 PM, including live and recorded music outside.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
So 4-0-1, Joe?
Thank you.
I move to approve the following special permit applications for Harwich Cranberry Festival, event to be held at 204 Sisson Road. A one-day wine and malt permit, July 13, 2027 of 2023, and August 3, 17, 24, 31 of 2023, from 6 to 9 PM, and one-day wines and malt permit, September 16th, 2023, from 12 noon till 7 PM, and September 17th, 2023, from 12 PM to 3 PM.
Second.
Any discussion? I believe we have some discussion. Mr. Weiser?
Thank you.
Some small errata, I believe. The number one-day wines and malt permit, the last date, August 31st, is incorrect. It should be Friday, September 1st. And the location for number 2 on the 16th and 17th is 100 Oak Street, the community center, not at 204 Sisson Road.
Okay. Is that in your motion and second?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll change that to September 1st, and 2 is 100 Oak Street. Any further discussion? All in, Michael?
Joe, you'll get those dates to Danielle for the applications?
Yes, so
What we signed isn't done.
if I could ask, under the item number 1, it appears that the application was written that way. Was that an error on the application? And then I believe item number 2 is just omitting the address, so
It
we'll
just
correct
didn't have an address, yeah.
Oh, it's on me.
Yeah, I wasn't aware, you know, it always has been a Thursday series, and I just assumed it was without looking at the schedule when I filled out the application. But I thought I had put the 100 Oak Street
You did.
down
It's here.
on the.
On
the
number 2,
appli-
you did, correct.
On number 2.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it was simply an omission on my part to pay attention to details.
But all's well that ends well. Mr. Weiser corrected us, and I'll take a vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0, Joe.
Thank you.
Just one update. I talked to the LCP committee, and we're going to send a delegation, not a full quorum, to the meeting next week. So,
Great.
Okay.
Thanks, Ed. Okay, H, discussion and possible vote to approve the waiving of the treasure chest sticker fee. I believe you brought this forward?
I did.
As the liaison?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. The committee chair for the treasure chest, who I believe is here tonight, requested that this be on the agenda, and as the liaison, I'm compelled to bring it to the agenda for a discussion and a possible vote.
Great.
Thank you for being here.
You're welcome. I'm Ellie Gerson, treasurer.
I'm just going to ask you to get a little closer and maybe speak a little louder. I
Sure.
get complaints that they can't always hear people at the mic.
Glad you told me. Ellie Gerson, chair of the Treasure Chest Committee. Before COVID, when I was a volunteer, there was a precedent in place where the volunteers got a free sticker. So when we reopened after COVID last April, Lynn Cooper carried on the precedent by working with the treasurer's office to get our volunteers a sticker. So when this year came along, I asked him about it, and he said, it's up to the selectmen at this point. So I contacted my liaison and would like to appeal for the good work that our volunteers do, that they be given a $5 sticker, no matter where they live. We do have some volunteers from out of town.
Okay, any questions, comments? Michael?
Yeah, I don't, we all know how I feel about fees. There's a cost of us doing business, and there's a cost of producing those stickers. And I don't understand why volunteers would need a sticker if they're working. They can simply go
They
down
can.
past the gatehouse and come in.
They can, yeah.
This is for times when they're not working, and the benefit to being a volunteer there, other than how great it is that there are volunteers, is they also get to pick through the stuff that people bring.
That's right.
And several volunteers that I've talked to thought that was good enough, loved the ability to take it. And as I am with all other fees, I am completely against giving away anything. And this is a precedence for other committees. And there's a lot of people that volunteer in this town that don't get anything. And where do we stop it?
Anyone
And
else?
I
Don?
guess
Oh,
I would ask just for the town administrator to figure out how, since the Board of Selectmen are the only ones that can waive fees, it happened that they got free stickers in the past.
I'd have to research that with staff.
I'm asking.
Okay. Don?
Looking towards the future. Madam Chair, I just want to be able to point out that the reason we started the stickers in the first place was to have some sort of control because we're getting swamped by people from everywhere showing up. And actually, the humor in this is we actually do give away something for nothing at the treasure chest. That's its whole point, so that we can delete that from the trash stream. I don't see what the point would be to make them buy. I mean, it's $5 was more or less symbolic. It was to cover our cost for issuing the sticker itself. And it was, and the underlying thought was to control the out-of-town people showing up at the treasure chest and swamping their resources. So I'm all in favor of allowing this because most of these people work one day a week. And if they're going to come in just one other day, I don't really care because they're offering their services for free. And the only question that I would have is you are capable of understanding who it is, not their friends, not their relatives, but the people who actually work there. And you are aware of who they are. And
We hold them to
and how many are you talking about, essentially, do you think?
15. Most of the volunteers have already bought a sticker.
Okay,
So
so we're
it's-
talking about $75 worth of the town's resources.
Julie?
I don't really have a problem either way. I agree to Michael's point, if they're there, they're able to get stuff anyway, and, you know, if they want to go in on an off day, I can't imagine volunteers throwing money, so, you know, but it's $5, I'm not opposed, but I don't really know that it's necessary.
Jeff?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think, I'd like to know maybe from Joe, is there any other town volunteer entity that this free sticker is available? Is there anything like this currently in our
Sure,
town?
not to my knowledge. I think the closest thing would be that we, the town, through several of our collective bargaining agreements, offer non-resident town employees the opportunity to buy stickers at the town rate. But I'm not aware of any giveaways, so to speak.
Right. And then my follow-up question to that would be, does that expose us to anything? It's certainly, for me, it is definitely not about the money, and the volunteers are incredible, and you've seen me there a couple of times with my wife and my kids. I'm sorry to have brought them. But I'm just wanting to make sure that this doesn't open up something else to this board that we may wish we didn't do. So is there any reason we should be thinking that way? I'm sorry to put you on the spot here, Joe.
No, you're not putting me on the spot. You're diving into my realm. I'm constantly focused on liability. Given the low dollar value, I don't see concerns about ethical considerations and all of that. However, I would agree with Select Board Member McCaskill. The bigger liability, so to speak, is the concept of precedence. If you've done it for this group, any number of any other groups could offer the same arguments, and then it becomes a bigger deal, in my opinion.
And I'm just going to throw my 5 cents in. Having managed 650 volunteers, I had to be extremely careful that you didn't do one thing for this group that you didn't do for the other. We had a thrift shop, and the thrift shop volunteers wanted to be able to shop things, without paying for them. And, well, I really can't do that because I've got another building full of volunteers and they don't have that. So I'm concerned about giving a perk, if you will, admittedly a small one, to a small group of volunteers, especially when they can already shop the day that they're volunteering. So maybe they just need to plan their shopping. I don't know. Michael?
Yeah, and I want to make it clear for the record, it's not about $75.
No.
Because Don would certainly pay that if we asked him.
And it's proven so.
But it really is, it's more about precedence, and we have a lot of amazing volunteers in this town that we don't give anything to.
Yeah.
And these particular volunteers don't need a sticker when they're there.
Right.
This is for an extra day. So it is a perk, and it was be prepared if we vote this for other groups to come in and ask for something.
And maybe we should be open to another way to identify the volunteers as they come on, for their shift, rather than depending on a sticker.
Don't they have separate, excuse me,
Go ahead.
don't they have separate parking? Don't they come in from the gatehouse and go up the hill?
Some are supposed to.
Well, I think that's the policy, is to make them,
Yeah,
because then you can definitely identify them when they're in their own parking lot.
right, yeah. And we, I
Right.
mean, some of them have been there so long, they're very well recognized. So we will support whatever you vote and keep doing our good job. And
Great.
Great job.
Thank you.
It's
You
a
guys
great
do a
job.
great job.
A great job.
can I ask one other thing? I think that
Please.
Sure.
Is it okay if I say
Yes, you
that
can.
the-
Thank
the
you.
new stickers are great? Thank you for spending the extra nickel to have it on the inside. Customers seem happy with that. But I need to be able to say that the selectmen want it affixed to the windshield, because we have people that come in holding it. And we try to be understanding, but I think we have to, be a little bit more consistent.
Don?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let me repeat, the whole point of the sticker system was to control who came in and that they were from this town. So it blows it up if they just hold it up, because they can always give it to another friend who can give it to another friend, as long as it makes its way back again. That completely blows up the reason for having them.
And it's often, though, this vanity thing that I don't like things on my windshield. So it's, it's a
It's on the
a
inside.
combination.
I'm going to say that's the price you pay if you want to go to the treasure chest.
And in this case, I would be willing to donate this single-edged razor blade to take it off.
So far.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
We will enforce it with our own muscle.
Well, Madam
We
Chair,
still need to take a vote.
Absolutely.
Are we done
We
discussing?
didn't start with a motion, so if there's no positive motion,
I move that we allow the stickers to be given for off days to volunteers.
Do I hear a second?
Just put it out there for the record.
I do not, so that means the motion has failed. So they cannot come in on another day without a sticker, okay? And do you need a vote on those stickers being attached, or was that already part of our policy? Joe, you look like you're,
Yeah, not sure if it's already part of the policy. It's not on your agenda. However, I would offer that we can handle that administratively.
okay,
I can certainly work with the committee and send a directive that they can say that the town administrator said this on behalf of the board.
okay, great,
So we
Ellie,
can- We can accomplish that.
wonderful. Town administrator to provide an update on 276 Queen Anne Road.
Thank you. In your packet, you will see a memorandum provided by our Assistant Town Administrator, Megan Eldridge. And this gets to the question of disposing of the property at 276 Queen Anne Road. So really, where we're at now is instruction or guidance from the Select Board on 4 pages within the document that will determine whether the town will be issuing an invitation for bids or going with a request for proposals. And as Megan has eloquently outlined, the difference that really is, if we simply are looking for the highest, best bid, then we would go with an invitation for bid, and most of those highlighted sections would be removed. If, however, the board is looking for other aspects other than just bid offer, we could qualify that and turn it into a request for proposal, and I can go through those sections. But really, that's the question before you folks tonight, is what guidance do you want to give to us? Shall we do it as a bid? If so, what is the minimum value? That's on page 3. If it's more than a bid, what sort of criteria or other conditions would you want us to contemplate?
Okay, who would like to start? Don?
Thank you, Madam Chair. One of the points of doing this is we have a really small commercial district, for industrial zone. Everybody else, like Dennis, everybody has a much bigger one. Chatham even has a bigger one. So the whole point is to put this back into the inventory so that they're tax paying and that they are supposedly hiring people who make more than somebody who's going to operate a cash register at a retail place. So as long as I'm assured that it is being offered as a commercial property, which it appears to be because it says that in another clause, then I'm satisfied that there shouldn't be any conditions at all other than how much you're willing to pay for it. Because we did this in Stonewood products. And the idea is to get expansion of commercial activity. So I ask through you, Madam Chair, would that clause that's already in there relative to how it's zoned govern then that it's being purchased to be a commercial property?
Could you identify in the packet where you see that?
Oh, if I had that kind of memory. Yeah, there's a clause in here, I just don't remember.
Description right here. Oh, it says located in an industrial zone along Queen Anne Road.
Yeah, it says the property is located in an industrial zone along Queen Anne Road. So the question is that, would you consider that sufficient, to be responsive to it being a commercial sale? Because that's the only restriction that I would like to see, is that we're offering it as a commercial property.
It says it's zoned IL Industrial Limited. Is that the same as commercial?
Yeah, so industrial is slightly different than commercial. Oh, sorry, Michael, you wanted to speak? I totally spoke.
Well, since you're speaking, why don't you conclude, and then we'll go to
I
Michael.
will yield you 30 seconds.
I'm just saying there's a difference between commercial, which would
It's
be-
listed as industrial limited in this,
Yeah,
IL
and
zone.
Industrial limited is more like what you see all along the road.
So
to
is,
the dump.
does that answer your question, Don?
No, because he's the one who's going to evaluate it. So I just want to make sure, would we consider something non-responsive if they said, yeah, we'll pay this, it's the highest price, but they're going to do something other than that with it?
So if I'm hearing correctly, if you look on page 5, section 3 is a description of the property.
Right?
It was advice of counsel that we would describe it in the site information, but emphasize the zoning that goes with that. If we are simply doing a bid, there is no criterion. There's nothing to evaluate other than we would accept the highest bid. If you want it to be a request for proposal, you may add a criterion that talks to that. But my statement would be, the town would rely upon page 5, section 3, as merely a recitation of facts relative to the site. We would not make any obligations or suggestions to any prospective owner. They're being advised that it is owned industrial IL.
Go ahead, Michael.
Can't we do an invitation for bid for commercial or industrial use? Why do we have to include, why couldn't an invitation to bid be for a specific use? Because where Don's going with this is, rather than not see a developer buy this and put 2 more house lots there, which would be permitted, maybe more, and to expand the commercial part of this. Because in my opinion, the highest price gets it. So I'd like to keep this as simple as possible, but for commercial and industrial use.
So rather than.
What he said.
Rather than refer to council, if I could take a moment, I think it would be helpful to look at the zoning use regulations to see what's allowed in that zoning. That might be helpful. I wouldn't suggest that I'll run downstairs, but I'll walk briskly, and I can be right back if that's the pleasure of the board.
Okay. If you think,
That's the only issue I have.
yeah.
I'm looking at it.
Does anybody have, because I'm with Michael, the top dollar is what I care about. Does anybody have other concerns that they wanted in the RFP?
Glad to see it happening.
Yeah,
The only thing I would say is if we did an RFP, is that, I agree, the commercial use, because industrial use, commercial, however you want to say it, is important, but I would also say,
I'm sure no one can hear you.
if overall, we could also say, and I'm looking at the use right now, if there was an apartment, you were going to offer an apartment above commercial industrial use, that would be great because it helps somebody in town, and so that, to me, is of higher, better use. If it's $10,000 below, the incoming bid that was the highest, and it was only going to be commercial, though I don't want to, put us in a box. So I'm most concerned with the price, obviously.
Michael?
And to Julie's point, I think what's allowed is allowed. We should, I mean, if somebody has a commercial building and we allow for an apartment above it. But
Right.
I think, we're gonna bring back hopefully next week, or 2 weeks from now, I'm gonna ask you anyway, to bring back the RFP on the Baptist church. Because these things are being made so complicated with so much criteria that people look at it and walk away from it. This is a real estate sale. This is just some acreage for sale that's already been cleared for somebody. And I do believe that when we get to the value of it and what minimum ask, people will be surprised with what people bid on that land. But I don't, because it's such a unique piece of property, I don't think we should in any way try and tie anyone's hands that's willing to buy this
Right.
and add a business to the property. As important as housing is, let's not lose sight of the 266 units down the road that are being proposed. So I'm not sure on Queen Anne Road we should be fighting for more housing.
Right.
Elizabeth might disagree with me, but I knew I was going to give her I knew I was going to give you mic time, but Joe's not here, so.
I don't disagree with you at all. Not every place is right for housing. I will say, as a citizen of Harwich, it freaks me out that you're just going to give it to the highest bidder, because what if the highest bidder is a new company trying nuclear waste disposal? Or what if it's a pet cemetery that whatever you call that, crematorium, that the town voted against?
Don't talk about
I
that.
think not having, it makes me really nervous that you're just going to give it to the highest bidder, because, they could make it a parking lot, they could make it, it just scares me of what certain people will do. That's all. Just as a citizen, it freaks me out. Thank you.
She's our resident zoning person here.
Julie?
So, Elizabeth, it would be protected by the zoning bylaws, so, obviously, a nuclear. So-
The zoning, that's strict.
Yeah, so the zoning will speak to that. And just to clarify, I'm in full agreement about getting the biggest bang for the buck, so.
Right, right. I think we all are. I
Yeah.
mean, we looked at that as a cash cow. That looks like a serious book, Joe. You ready?
He's got the chart.
So yes, I'm ready, and having missed some of that discussion, I think my best response would be, if the board is, because I heard biggest bang and all that stuff, so it sounds like the board wants to go with an invitation for bid. We can add language that says that the town anticipates the use to be consistent with the zoning regs, commercial or industrial purposes. And then in the meantime, we'll verify that through council, because we always have a chance to update, and that should be sufficient.
Okay.
To go any further, I think we run the risk of creating criteria for evaluation, which is an RFP, which really elongates the process.
Yep. Go ahead, Don, because I forgot my question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. While you were gone, Julie pointed out something, and she's absolutely right, because we've had problems in the past with somebody who wanted to do something commercial but not industrial. They're like have a rib serving place, which is more retail. All we're looking for is to take the IL Industrial Limited definition and incorporate that as an endpoint. When you're bidding on this, that the property is being offered in a area zoned at IL Industrial Limited, and we're looking for a price. Nothing more complicated than that, just money.
And I remembered my question, Joe. If the proposal comes back, or proposals come back, there's nothing to stop us from walking away.
Correct, we always reserve
You
that
always
right.
have that right.
If I may, Madam
You
Chair,
may.
through you to the previous
may.
speaker, so are there recommendations on edits to the document that you have?
I don't think so.
Just find a way of incorporating the language that references the IL Industrial Limited, because it's not industrial and commercial, it's just that. Julie pointed that
I
out.
think that was all we wanted, right?
Yeah.
Michael?
In the industrial, I believe that encompasses commercial. just straight
It
commercial.
may, but it's not going to be up to us in an RFP to define that. That's up to the building commissioner in the ZBA.
Madam Chairman.
Yes, Jeff?
So just because I'm a little confused now, we're throwing around RFP and request for bid. So
Invitation for bid.
invitation for bid.
It's a formal
So
solicitation.
if I heard Joe correctly, if we leave out certain criteria, we can keep it simple.
Right.
But then you just used the word RFP.
I didn't mean it that way.
Okay, so I'm just trying to keep my thoughts here so that I
It's a
understand.
formal invitation for bid.
Absolutely, and Madam Chair, that is what I would vote for and
We agree.
support.
It's a formal-
Okay,
Simple and money
okay.
for our town.
Now, the
Yes.
other thing I think you need from us is if we want to create a minimum bid,
Correct. If you look on page 3, it indicates that the parcel is assessed at a certain dollar amount, minimum value, which is determined by the town. What we ascribe to that is considered to be blank. And so that's where I'd need guidance from you folks, and I can offer any input to help you in that deliberation.
what, Michael?
950,000.
Is that your bid, or is that your suggestion for the number?
Sold.
I hear 950, do I hear 951?
Sell it.
If it was that easy, I would write you a check. No, I think that should be the minimum bid. If we just look back to what we just had Judah Eldridge appraise that, and all you can do is walk on it, it would make absolutely no sense to take that many acreage on Queen Anne Road and sell it for a penny less. And if we strike out, we issue it again at a lower value.
Why not $1 million? Julie?
I agree, because I can say that I've looked at feasibility, studies on commercial use and industrial use and bays, and there's no land out there. So having the ability to build some bays right there it's worth a lot of money.
Don?
Thank you, Madam Chair. While I agree that that's probably what it's worth, I'm not sure that it's worthwhile putting anything in because we can reject any and all bids if we find them to be insufficient. I'm more interested in speed, getting the damn thing out and putting it out on the street to have somebody bid on it before the real estate market does something wonky.
Michael?
Just in anticipation of this conversation, I talked to several people in real estate. So the number wasn't out of nowhere. And I'd also like not to put in 468,000 to save some time for the procurement team when they have to review these bids so that we're not getting 600 bids at 500,000. We're only going to get serious bids
Right.
of people that are going to put in serious projects. So I think putting a number, I would say down from $1 million just sounds a little better. But up there to see what happens. I don't think this is going to take any time, which is why I've been driving this to try and get it on the table so that we can get it out. I think there's a lot of people that have read this and talked about this lot, and they're ready to bid on it.
We
Can you make a
got
motion?
consensus on 950?
Why
950?
doesn't he make a motion with that in the IL comment and just, we'll get it going?
I move that we approve an invitation to bid with the added language of the IL for $950,000,
But the minimum value be considered.
of $950,000.
Second. Oh.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0, Joe. Do you need anything else on that?
Very quickly, I just want to inform you then on page 5, you'll see that there were 2 highlights. Given that we are now proceeding on an invitation for bid, we will strike the language that says alternately. The most advantageous, all the way through the phrase will be selected, so that will not appear. On page number 6, we will remove under letter of intent, item number 3, which got to the proposed use of the property. Under page 7, we will keep the first highlight section, which indicates highest price proposal, and we will delete the most advantageous. Under page 7, highest bid price equal to or exceeding, that would be $950,000 unless the board thinks otherwise.
And the
That's
second
what
one's,
we would put in there.
second one's deleted.
And then section 2, proposed uses would be deleted. And I think that covers every other question.
Just one question, Joe. The one on page 6, the proposed use of the property, Can we leave that in there just to see what people are doing? Is there a harm to that?
There is,
Okay,
because then we would have to qualify which
Okay.
proposed uses are better than others.
okay. Thank you. Michael?
So, from tomorrow morning going forward, when is this done, and how is it gonna be advertised?
So I believe the instructions are included within the document itself. So first you will see, well, you won't see it first, but on page 3, the overview of the property, the proposal date would be August 29th, 2023 at 2 PM. And I think that has to be Eastern Daylight Time, because I think we're still in that section. And then questions are due August 21st. What I'm searching for is the recitation of the bid notice and all of that. So if you look on page 15, it indicates that the sale of the property, all proposals no later than that date. So I think next steps, we're going to take any references out to RFP specifications. On that notice, we'll run it by council just to advise on the decisions that were made tonight relative to the document. And then I believe the earliest, based on that it could be advertised through the Commonwealth is next Thursday. But we would still be on track for the deadline dates and the question dates.
Great.
So theoretically, I'd be able to report back out at probably your first meeting in September on the results and recommendations on that.
Great. Michael?
Given the amount of money involved here, and you said advertised in the Commonwealth, how do we locally advertise this so that we're reaching a broader group rather than just people that may read it in the Chronicle if he writes it up, may go onto the state's website, may go wherever? How do we put this out there a little more than we have been?
Sure. So first, we're always concerned about what the minimum obligations are to meet the procurement standards. So that's why I mentioned the Commonwealth will make sure we adhere to all their responsibilities. Beyond the Chronicle, there's any number of ways we can do it. We always do it on our website, on the RFP and bid pages. We can also put it on the front of the website, and I can reach out to any number of departments that have social media to put it out there. What we would do, though, in every instance is drive everybody to the same location, which would be the website page that contains that information. So once we've met the state obligations, we're not bound. We can advertise any other ways, including media campaign, for lack of a better phrase.
Can we get it to realtors?
I would say in theory, yes, but I would have to run that by council, only because whether it's an RFP or an IFB, you want to drive all parties to the same site,
Right.
and that would be the website. So if we did a mailing list, say, that might become problematic.
Okay.
Rather than do that, I think there's a value in a media campaign, where certainly board members can talk about it and direct people to that site. We can rely upon local radio and things like that, so we can do it above and beyond. But we always want to make sure we're not, to the earlier question about liability, that we're not creating a scenario where one party could claim they weren't aware of it and another party received more notice, so to speak.
Okay. Michael?
I would support a proposal from the town administrator on a media campaign, and what it's gonna cost and what it would look like. But more importantly, I think we should find out the answer, and we do have a Richard Waystack that frequents some of our meetings. Ask if we can get that onto MLS. If there's any way to get it onto MLS, it hits every realtor.
Right.
But I guess my point is exposure,
Yep,
exposure.
it's possible we could have a listing that ties back to the website.
Right. That's what I was thinking. If we got it to a realtor, it would be on MLS. Oh, I think we have some help coming. Yes.
Possibly. Cindy Williams, Executive Director of the Chamber. We're launching the new website, hopefully Saturday. There's a special page that deals specifically with town departments and things that are happening, relocating here, starting a business here. Certainly, if there's stuff that anyone can send, I'd be more than happy to put it out there. And then also we can do a special e-blast to our database. So the chamber's willing to help in every way any way we can. I feel like I'm talking like Carolyn now, and I have had not enough caffeine.
Must be the moment.
It's the microphone. We're all talking too close. So if there is anything, just let us know. We can help too.
Thank you, Cindy.
Mary?
Yes,
I'm-
Don.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to support what Michael's saying. I did this as a profession for a number of years. Nobody, nobody has a real life, reads combis all day long and reads the legals and then goes to our town webpage to peruse. If you're going to be talking about a commercial developer, it's much more likely that they're going to be looking at the Chamber of Commerce or maybe a media campaign. I'd be interested too in seeing what it would cost. But the people we're trying to reach aren't really geeks who are looking into the kind of insider thing. I doubt anybody out there even knows what combis is.
Okay. Are you good with getting us a proposal on a media campaign, Joe?
Sure, yes.
Yes.
Sorry, what I meant was free media, so I'd have no problem calling radio stations and the like,
Yeah,
because free is best.
free is always good. Yep.
However, through it all, if there's any third parties or others that are interested, the town will continue to give them the URL for the page that has to be consistent in every communication.
Okay.
And that is not the same as the town partnering with any third party, which is critical under procurement.
And we can make that URL available at our next meeting?
Sure?
Okay.
And
Anything else? Julie?
for clarification, and we can ask Richard this, but I don't think we can put it on MLS because it would have to be a listing. So I don't think we have access to
With an
that.
associated broker.
Okay.
So-
Joe?
Building on the previous speaker's comment, again, the town, if any third party grabs the URL, they're doing what they do.
Yeah.
The
Right.
town makes no suggestions regarding those.
Okay. Anything else? We're good? Okay, that feels good to have that one moving. Contracts. Can I have a motion, Jeff?
Absolutely. I move that we have a discussion and a possible vote to authorize the chair to execute a contract for dog impoundment services with the Animal Rescue League for $7,000.
Of Boston.
Second.
Any discussion?
The Animal Rescue League of Boston.
Of Boston. That was in my motion.
That was in my
That was in the
second.
motion and the second. Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 They're a big organization.
Chair's not crazy about impounding dogs.
Got a bad rap on
I know.
It's you who said it, not me.
Town administrators report.
Now that I've returned, I can reveal certain things. Thank you, board, for your support. My family and I had a wonderful vacation, and time away is always good, and I have returned. But I especially want to thank my immediate staff, certainly Danielle Patience, but most especially the Assistant Town Administrator, as expected and as always does, did a great job standing in for me, and I really appreciate that support. And thank her and thank the board. And it is great to be back, because it's raining. That concludes my report.
Selectmen report. Don?
Nothing.
Julie? Jeff?
I have a couple things, Madam Chair, if I may.
Sure.
Thank you to the Harwich Fire and Harwich Police for the job they did over the 4th of July weekend and the week. It was so incredibly comforting to see them at the beaches and patrolling and doing what they do so well. So I wanted that to get noticed and recognized. I also would like to notice and recognize Cindy Williams for the work she did for the Music in the Port on Wednesday. That little purple shirt of yours was just humming up and down Route 28 like no one's business, and just to see Harwich Port so vibrant and happy, and people and the bands, just a fantastic job by Cindy and everyone who worked really hard to make that happen. And then, yeah, Joe, to echo your sentiments, Patience and Danielle and Megan were just incredible. Whenever I needed them, they were right there for me, and thank you to your staff while you were away.
Thank you, I'll pass that along.
Please.
Michael?
Nothing.
And Chronicle,
And I-
7:30
I-
tonight.
Yeah, Chronicle.
I will just add to Joe the same compliment for Patience, Danielle, and Megan. They kept me on the straight and narrow. They didn't call me very often, but when they needed to, so fabulous job.
I'll
Done.
pass it along.
I move that we recess this meeting to establish the executive session, and we will not be coming back after the adjournment of that.
Second.
Do I need a roll call on this, Michael?
Yes, please.
No? All in favor?
To go back
Go back and do
into,
executive.
I do? Roll call. Michael?
aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.